and also a full stack web developer. Very experienced one. That's it. Yeah. So hi Obum. Hello.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody, or good morning, good evening, from whatever time zone you're joining from.
Good evening. You're welcome.
Thank you, thank you. It's a very great pleasure to be here. Thank you, Precious and Neil, for having me here today to share the little I know. I'm not very perfect, but I will try in sharing the much I have with the community at large. Yeah, so I think Precious, he spoke a lot introducing me. I beg, I'm just a normal person out there, not so much attached. Yeah, it just mainly yes concerning we've known for a long time, went to the same college, university, and all that. So about me, I've always been good about development and community at large. As a person, I'm active in community programs. I'm a full stack blockchain mobile and web developer. Like over the years, I've been capable of acquiring those skills in time and helping here and there. And it's a great pleasure that I'm honored to be part of this masterclass today. I'm talking about Flutter and open source, where they intersect. Yeah, so I suppose we have different people of different programming proficiencies, different people of different where they come from or what they do or backgrounds. So how this session will look like is more of explaining what to expect with little demos, not that much, just what we like. I the object is that at the end of our session today, we are capable of understanding what to expect with when it comes to open source slash Flutter. You see, okay, I should start talking about Flutter and I should start sharing my screen. I joined the call with my phone. I don't know if it is appropriate to share from my screen because I'm trying to. My system is ready, yeah, but I just loaded the meeting link on my system for it to load up. So, but notwithstanding, about Flutter, mm, so about Flutter, this is what Flutter looks like. The landing page of Flutter, Flutter.dev. So it says built for any screen. So a little history of Flutter. Flutter was created from Google close to 6 years now, right? The advocacy for Flutter started from about some years back. So it wasn't really it didn't start as what it is, what we have today. It gradually started as um, gradually started as a tool for cross app development on mobile on Android. Then gradually added Apple, iOS, added desktop, added web, and then now we have the consortium working for all of them. So, but then Flutter is a tool you can use to build for any screen. It makes it easy for you to build a mobile app from the same code base. Because if you're to build for Android or Apple, you ordinarily work with Kotlin or XML for building the screens for Android, and then Kotlin or Java for the mobile app on Android, like an APK, right? And then if you're to build on iOS, you should use Swift, yeah, or C, Objective C to build for Apple. But then cross-platform tools are tools that make it possible to write for one code base and it's built for both. So you can write Flutter like in your Flutter app when you build write Flutter and you write the code, it will come up as a You can build it to obtain an APK, or you can build it to obtain an iOS application, and also desktop apps or web apps. But the most common use cases are mobile applications. Yeah. So yes, we have Flutter today. That's the main thing. And that's the Flutter community is awesome. Flutter in itself is an open source product. It is not proprietary. It is, yeah, it is owned and maintained by Google, yes, but it is open source so that anybody can come in and contribute, and everyone sees the code powering it. And the programming language you use in writing Flutter is Dart. So Flutter has built a lot of things. Uh, um, or maybe find time to check out many apps today are gradually being built with Flutter. And the power behind Flutter is that Flutter just gets a blank screen from the target platform's app and renders on the screen. Because Flutter is not the only open source tool. Flutter is not the only open source tool. There are other, sorry, Flutter is not the only cross platform mobile application tool. There are other tools like React Native, Xamarin, among the rest. But the thing is that a tool like React Native compiles directly to native components on the target platform. So when you build a button in React Native, the button you're transpiling for Android, it will kind of become an Android equivalent button at runtime. But in Flutter, that's not the case. In Flutter, the Flutter button or the Flutter app is kind of separate from the APK. So this kind of, I think I'm deviating. This kind of extra stuff, but the main idea is that Flutter is a cross-platform tool, and the engineering or the architecture is that it kind of accesses the blank screen on the device and paints on it. So our Flutter apps are pixel perfect. It's capable of rendering exactly the same thing across multiple devices the way you want, and it's fast. Because of that, now Flutter handles optimization itself and it's relatively faster. There is no JavaScript bridge or WebView bridging as common with other apps. And it's a huge community, something backed by Google. So as you expect all the reps that comes with Google apps or Google community programs, yeah, Flutter is really one of a kind. So Flutter is open source, and we are here to talk about getting started with open source for getting started with Flutter for open source development. Definitely, to start with Flutter for open source development, you can start up with going to Flutter, github.com/Flutter/Flutter. That is the Flutter repository for on GitHub, and start contributing something. But that will be maybe an overkill for a beginner. I mean, you should also understand what Flutter is and be comfortable with building things with Flutter before you now talk about how to contribute to the main Flutter um, code basis. So I want to present from my screen. Yeah, but I don't know if I join, since I joined my phone, if I present from my laptop, I'm seeing the option of present now or switch share. I don't know which one to pick. Or let me just continue from mobile. I don't know if is it an issue? Anyways, let's just continue. So I wanted to show us, okay, no, yes, what it looked like, github.com, the source code for Flutter is an open source, because when Precious and I were preparing for today's session, we're brainstorming what would be the best way to actually showcase the open source perspective for someone. So yeah, let me leave it like this. Yeah, so it says Flutter is Google's SDK for crafting beautiful fast user experiences. Now, this is a GitHub repository where everything about Flutter is written. So this is the source code for Flutter, github.com/Flutter/Flutter. Yeah, so the idea is that you can see in the issues tab of the Flutter, we have about 5,000 issues. And we have about, okay, these are pull requests. So I think it's time to change the conversation, start talking about GitHub and Git and open source contributions. Yeah. So GitHub, we all know, is like a cloud hosted equivalent of Git. Yes. And then um, in GitHub, you can have multiple accounts, and GitHub added features to um, community development that the native Git itself does not have. Git is the tool you install in your computer that can help to manage software differences. But then GitHub is the cloud hosted. You can create an account on GitHub and you can do as much as you want. So now, in in Flutter GitHub, we can see there about 5,000 issues. GitHub added issues and pull requests to every repository. Repositories like the project, like the Flutter project, for example. So, like I said earlier, it would be too demanding to expect any of core beginners to come and start contributing to the core Flutter repository itself. But then there are many other Flutter open source repos we can contribute to, which I'll demo as we progress. But why I brought us here just was the idea that as with every open source project, Flutter is open source, it's public, because if the project is public, it's definitely open source. If it is not open source, it will be private, the code proprietary. And also, there will be things like contributing.md. What now do you go about contributing? Things like code of conduct, given as a community, there's how to behave, yeah, and there will be a license. Mhm. So generally, Google repositories have you have to sign a CLA, contributor license agreement. I think that's getting kind of extra, it's Google specific. But yes, there's also a license. This come up with every open source repos. These are the kind of things you want to look out to once you want to get started with open source development. So overall, get started with open source development, you want to first check out the project you want to contribute to. What are the demands for it? Like, once get comfortable with it. Like, definitely, we're not coming to contribute to Flutter. You can come and contribute here, but I want to like give a basic overview. The basic overview is that you should get comfortable with chances that there will be a license. The license tells you what to expect. Like, now, this is a BSD3 license. Well, there are the many licenses. There is a social summary about what to expect about it. You're free to use this product commercially. You're free to distribute or use it privately, but then the authors of it are not liable to any damage you incur from using the product, or they are not liable to warranty. That's the meaning of BSD3 license. There's the Apache 2 license, there's the MIT license. All licenses give authorization for use, but with different permissions and all, right? So, but just be aware, it's worth mentioning about license because it's a serious topic in open source development. And then another concerning topic in open source development is I can close this tab of this code of conduct. You have to be aware that given that it's a repository, there's how you talk, right? You have to be inclusive. You don't have to breach the community rules, else you'll not be allowed to do anything in that community again. Tublian here is a community, so I believe we know more about community guidelines. And then contributing to Flutter, as you can see, there is a Flutter Discord is written in here, and there's a code of conduct, right? And then there are differences. These are things you should expect. Like if you are here to contribute directly to Flutter repo, that's what you expect. So some cases, if you head over to the issues tab, you can see uh, you can see different issues, like different people opening different things. Maybe problems. Issues are like problems. So they can put it here to ping, like, and see different tags around the issues. So these things could be a little complex if you don't know what it means. But these are kind of the way in which users of Flutter can come in and state out if something is not all that right, if they can improve on something. But the main idea here with Flutter is that, like every other open source, because we're talking about how to get started with Flutter in open source, the main idea is that if you're coming to come and contribute, you could be helping to maybe you can see this the latest, to open 1 hour ago. Inter rule to catch information loss in generic state class definitions, opened by Tom Box. And then the other one open 12 minutes. There have been no tags, so no member of the team has reviewed. So you could be helping to be reviewing and be answering questions. That's already an open source contribution, right? Or you could, if you know what is required for a particular, because some of them could have a good first, a good first contribution, or a awaiting or needs help tag. Okay, I think I'll have to use a different repository, a different Flutter repository that will put us more in perspective, because contributing directly to Flutter/Flutter might be quite demanding for some of us. But now the pull requests show where members of the community have kind of tried to solve some of those problems and those issues, and they are submitting them. So people will review and will pass. When they get merged, the Flutter overall repo gets corrected. So, but you get started with Flutter contribution. It's not with GitHub Flutter. It's with, like, I'm proposing free code camp, because free code camp, as we know, is a tool for building, is a tool for learning, um, a tool for learning development. So, but and they have a mobile app that is built in Flutter that is in development here on GitHub. So that's why I felt like it should be a good demo or good showcase for contributing. You can see on the landing page, there's a lot about what's happening. If you want to contribute, they say please follow these steps. There's a fact free code campus dedicated contribute.freecodecamp.org um, page on how to, if you want to work on the mobile app. Like, I'm just like kind of giving you what to expect. Anytime you want to contribute on open source in most repositories, and in this case in a Flutter repo, the free code camp mobile app is a good Flutter repo to use. Yes, because free code camp has a good community. So if you want to start with contributing to open source, maybe you don't know where to start from, you can use free code camp, for example, or you can just search overall on Google Flutter open source projects and get on anyone and start contributing. So for this free code camp case, you can see how to prepare a local machine, install that on Flutter, install Git, set up Android Studio. Like if you follow the steps step by step, you know what to expect. Yeah. And then you can start running everything locally and you can start contributing. As for contributing, they probably have an issues tab, like issues like maybe problems with the mobile app. And they probably have a pull request tab. Let me put it elsewhere. So where you can see what other people have been contributing. So it's open source as open to contributions, right? Likewise, other things. But like I said, anytime you want to get started open source, you have to clone Flutter, clone the repo, and then know what exactly to work on in that repo, and then um, oh, yeah, no, this is Flutter's pull request. This was the issues I was opening, and then what was that? Can you hear me? Are you still hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you
Yes.
very loud and clear.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Because excuse, let me stop a little. Oh, yeah, just give me the free code camp. I don't know if GitHub is down, but thought I was loading. So, but yeah, that's basically it. Getting started with open source contribution. So the main idea is that you know that Flutter is a tool for building apps, and then you from the Flutter docs, from the Flutter landing page, you can get started with building Flutter, like with installing it locally. And yeah, you might have to look at some. If you're already a programmer, whatever stack you build, it's very easy to get started with Flutter because it's mainly UI code and then that you will not spend a lot of time learning that programming language, but you'll be good to go. And then in the case of which repo to contribute to, maybe if in case Tublian wants to build a mobile app, you can start to make it open source. And if we, the community members, can decide to start building towards that, yeah. So you expect to maybe have a contributing.md or a contributing page to tell you what to do. You want to start contributing to a particular repo. I showed the case for Flutter itself and free code camp. And maybe there'll be an issues place in GitHub where you can GitHub issues where you can pinpoint other projects people have been having, and you can help, follow up, open any issue, respond to them, and then give feedback, or you can create a pull request and then improve the entire ecosystem. And by then, you're a hero, you're one of a kind person because you're making it possible to improve the entire ecosystem. Because, in fact, most of everything we have, our software, even the Android OS we are using, or different operating systems or different software, are all open source. So I can imagine what the world would have been without open source projects. I mean, open source is that programmers volunteer in different parts of the world to just develop. And it's not just about programmers, it's about various everyone that has something to contribute towards development of software. Because documentation is a major part of software that programmers are sometimes not good at. So there are people that do technical writing come and write them, or project managers or community managers are people that take their time to answer questions and do these things in the context of any open source project, and it's really worth giving them the kudos. So when you go through the efforts to sideline paid projects to volunteer to open source contributions, especially ones that do with Flutter, I mean you're really doing a great, and it's worth celebrating those many volunteers we have. And aside that, maybe it's worth chipping in that there are various programs, things like Google Summer of Code, Google Season of Dogs, MLH, or Major League Hacking, or Genome of Firefox Foundation, or Outreachy. I'm not so sure of their modalities, but I think they have various programs that award stipends or little monies to people for contributing to open source projects. So you might consider them if you want to actively advocate for open source repositories. But for getting started with Flutter in open source, it's a very wonderful thing, right? If you don't know where to get started, I suggest the Flutter repo itself or FreeCodeCamp, or there are many other Flutter open source repos for various apps that anyone can use. You can come and contribute and use to gain experience. And another advantage is that if you get started with mobile app development and choose Flutter, with Flutter you can uh, you're employable. Like there are many companies out there that can employ you for building with Flutter. And if you don't have any experience to showcase for your interview or when applying, you can now showcase your open source contributions to those reports. So I don't know. I'm getting towards the end of my of our session of our masterclass. I don't know if we have any questions. Yeah, if you have any questions about Flutter or open source or any other thing. Yeah.
Okay, so guys, we're getting to the end. So if you have any question, this is the right time to ask them, or we'll let Obum continue. Hi, Enobong. You're welcome.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Gwebe. Sorry if I pronounced the name wrong. So, thank you very much for that session. It was actually very impactful. So, my question is regarding pull request. So, one of the challenges I have in open source is say you take up an issue and you probably, let's say, fix the button that was not working and you send it as a pull request. Most times those pull requests just stay there and it's not approved. So in this scenario, what do you do?
Okay. In the case where a pull request is not approved, so it's worth checking if chances are, if you look at the history of commits or of the entire project, that might be an extra work. But like I'm giving you what I would have done because it's a very opinionated question. Now remember that this is an open source tool and no one is rewarding a builders technically. We are all doing it volunteer work. So sometimes on the hand of the maintenance, it could be overwhelming because they could have their own separate life, right, aside that project in question. And usually managing that project could be a full-time job. Like it's very demanding. So maybe they could be taking a break. So I want to be patient with them. But if it takes a lot of time and they are not responding, so once like if you know them or know their social media handles, once reach out on social media and tag them, or chances are most open source projects could have another forum, maybe a Discord or a Telegram or WhatsApp somewhere else, or Twitter or X, somewhere else where they could have conversations. So you could mention and you could drop your pull request link there, that's it. So that it wants attention. They will definitely attend. For most of the time, for majority of the open source repos, it's not like that. They actually give attention. But in this kind of case, like you mentioned, it's a serious issue. I actually have those cases. Because one of the things that inspire it is maybe you are using that tool. Maybe it's a library you're using in your own project, and then you see, and then you maybe modify the library and use the modified one, but to help others come and suggest the modification, but then nobody reviewed. If you're patient and you reach out and nobody responds, you can leave it. I mean, we don't have you or us as the simple contributors don't have the admin rights on the repository to merge our requests. It's not our fault that the people are not available. I think we should just let go. But aside that, one way to prevent that from happening is to first comment on an issue. If there's an existing issue that you're trying to open a pull request for, you want to also comment on an issue and be sure you have the attention of the maintenance. Let them know that you want to embark on it first. Yeah, I think that's one way to curb that. So that by the time you work on it, if at all they're not comfortable with your contribution or don't want to merge the button change for particular reason, at least they'll give feedback and mention this is why. And another reason why it's good to comment on the issue, like maybe this is how you intend solving the problem. They could also discuss with you to know that this was obtainable before you go ahead to do the contribution because it hurts. It's a painful experience that you took your time to volunteer and do that contribution and it not merge it, like you said. So the answer to your question is kind of multifaceted, right? Sometimes it doesn't happen and it's best avoided. But when it happens, we have to let it slide, right? Nothing in the world is perfect. But that's my opinion because that's a very opinionated um, circumstance. It's not something that is always bound to happen. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, yeah, you did. You did.
Yeah,
Thank you.
just to add to that to that answer, Enobong. So we've built. I don't know if you know about Tublian, but then we've had this um I don't know what's happening. Okay, so we have this tool. But I don't know if you know about Tublian because we built some of these things to help developers, right? Because we know that some of these issues happen, especially during our open source the last time, the open source internship we did. We still have a lot of people with a lot of PRs that have not been merged up till now. So there was this thing that we did. So some of the things that we built. So this is Tublian. If you come in here, you have your dashboard. On your dashboard, you have open source. So what I did was just to come here and I search for Flutter. So this is giving me open source projects that are built with Flutter or that I can contribute to. That's as a Flutter there, right? So now looking at this project, this is the Flutter main. I think this is the one Obum used as an example. So it was the first one that I suggested for me. So if you look here, you see that the activity is high, right? And then the health, are you seeing the health of this project? So which shows you that 116 pull requests have made to this repository in 1 week, right? So now, if you look at this one, it doesn't necessarily mean that this one is not good. It just means that this one activity is low and that there are 3 PRs in 1 week. So this tool helps you to analyze open source repositories and give you insights on whether you should contribute or if you shouldn't contribute, right? So you can also try to use it in other things that you are doing, looking for projects, analyzing projects, and also contributing. So yeah, I just thought I should shift that. There are a lot of other things, but let's not talk about that now. Hi, Obum, you can go on. Sorry for pressing me. Hi, Obum. Obum, you can go on, sir.
Yeah, yeah. I suppose that would be that's. Thanks for the presentation too. Like you just kind of like from the Tublian as showed. The first repo was Flutter, and it's like I knew, and that's why I first talked about contributing on Flutter itself, right? The core Flutter, because most open source tools are open source, so you can contribute on them directly. In fact, they even need more help than uh, other projects built on them. But don't be worried about that because on one hand there are many engineers, but it doesn't mean your contribution will go a long way. Yeah, so I don't know if anyone has a question. If not, then I think we're able to that kind of masterclass on open source and Flutter at the same time. Yeah.
All right. So I don't know if there's any other question.
There is a question on the chat from Harsha. I can read that out. Hi, would appreciate some tips on how to get started with Flutter for someone who is starting with mobile development.
Okay. So this gets a of Flutter. Um, I recommend if you're the type that loves reading, like me, the documentation and some other articles out there are a good start. But if you're the type that likes watching videos, you can maybe go to YouTube. There are a lot of tutorials on the started with Flutter. And aside that, if you have the funds to buy some courses, then or anything, feel free to do the same. But definitely, you have to learn by doing. Anything you learn, put it in practice. Install Flutter in your laptop, follow the steps in documentation or in the tutorial. Install depending on your on your operating system. If you're using Windows, you download the zip, you expand and add it to your path variable. If you're using Flutter, if you're using Linux, you can use Snap or you can clone and build that's except something like that. So whatever your OS is, and then start building. Every Flutter project you generate has a counter app. So for more tips on getting better, if you're already a programmer, whatever started, so it will be easier for you. Just brush up on that and then get started with UI development for mobile. But if it's your first time with programming as a whole, then our advice maybe take a break and learn programming first. Like be comfortable with things like conditionals, object-oriented programming, variables, functions, methods. Then you bridge into maybe things like UI, what to expect from colors before entering Flutter proper and the widgets. Because when it comes to Flutter, everything on screen is a widget. You have stateful and status widgets. Like those are specific to the Flutter framework, right? But before talking about what to code to write on Flutter framework, we have to be sure that you understand the things you are using in Flutter. You have to be sure that you understand those things. So it all depends on your level. But once you begin to get comfortable with building a simple counter app and following tutorials or to-do lists or code labs in Flutter, then you want to embark on small projects, implement UIs, and then you explore the world of state management. But it's all about you, right? If you're very dedicated and consistent, all these things will be very simple. At it, and we have a huge community everywhere, whether Stack Overflow or here Tublian too, or forums out there to give you help where you are if you're serious. So there's many things. Just get started. In fact, the main thing is get started. You'll figure it out along the way. Yeah, it's not. It's just like every other domain. Everything you want to learn. And nowadays, with the abundance of resources and communities, it's very easy to make it here. So I'm sure you get it right. Yeah. Someone raised the hand. Thank God. I don't know if it's a
Yeah,
question.
thank God, you can go on.
Okay.
Can go on.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Brent, for the explanation. So, the one that piqued my interest was you said that if you are new to this space, that you should go into program, right? So,
Yes.
this is where I want to ask my question. It's been long that I have this passion to go into program. So, but I don't know where to start from. That was why I joined most developers community. Like the group that I got this meeting link is from GDG, and from GDG. So that was where I saw the link. So if I want to start, how do I start off? Like, what's the first step?
Okay. Do you have a computer? Do you have a laptop or something?
Yes, I have a laptop, but I was meant to understand that I will have to start that for programming. I need for i7 system
No, it's not
whereby I
compulsory.
have the
It's not
code.
compulsory.
Okay,
It depends. It depends on what you're coming to build. At least with the basic,
okay,
any laptop, at least any good laptop that you can use and open a browser or open Microsoft Word, you can use it to open VS Code and you Notepad. But now something like Flutter, that's another part of the conversation I did not mention. It's step at a time. About the computing resources, Android Studio is very demanding. So if you're installing Flutter for Android Studio, I want to build on Android, right? It
okay,
take a tool on your laptop. So but it will not be that much because Flutter can also build on the web and build on Windows. So if you have a laptop that is not that big, you can still get started with programming. Now, the thing is, your very first step, you will be to start learning the programming language. But while learning the programming language, I advise be aware that you're trying to understand programming concepts, right? How to go about solving a problem, algorithms, data structures, right? Before now coming to major in your um, pathway of choice, you have major in mobile app development with Flutter, like we're discussing. Yeah, so maybe you can try to learn that. If your business is data analysis or something with Python, you can try to learn Python first. If you want to do web development, you can go into HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. The list is long. Or you can try C++ for game development, depending on the engine you're using. But the idea is that I advise it's not compulsory to follow that pathway because sometimes you can go straight to learning mobile or gaming, or in the process, if you're tech savvy and smart, you easily pick up on the programming language and programming concept necessary for that pathway. But it will help you if you can learn programming. Right? Like I said, it's very opinionated. Like it's a multifaceted advice. Like this is just Obum saying now. It's not like it's a cast on stone uh, pathway, right? Because it's just like best practices. So, but I noticed that beginners that tend to learn core of programming first before coming to maybe do mobile app or websites or games, find it easier and excel faster relative to their counterparts that go straight to those things if they are new. But since you said you've got a laptop, right? I would advise you just start learning the programming language, either use YouTube. And since you're in the community, you said you're in GDG, so you can probably join us here in Tublian and start learning. The main thing is that you have to learn, right? The community is here to guide and help, but you only have to put in the effort. You have to make sure that maybe every day, 2 hours, an hour, or something like give it time, you learn, spend time learning, and then you come back. Yeah. And then when you've learned and you're good to go, you can start building projects or getting employed because you definitely want to make revenue from the entire coding process. And possibly you can equally contribute to open source programs and projects. And yeah, that's basically it. I don't know if I kind of answered you.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I really appreciate. Like through your answer, I got a read. Then another important question I want to ask is this: through the coding you mentioned, can I get a career in cybersecurity through that coding also?
Through the what?
Coding, as in, you said that if I want to, as in, to progress in programming, I will first of all learn coding, right?
Coding and programming are the same things.
Okay, okay.
It's the same thing.
So
I'm
what I
just
want,
using the words interchangeably. Yeah, if you're
okay,
interested in cybersecurity, you're good to go. In fact, a good amount of what you should know in cybersecurity might not require you to learn programming as intensively as a mobile app developer like me, right? So, but yeah, you can get started. In fact, most of your questions will be answered if you get started, right? Just get started. Start somewhere. There are a lot of cybersecurity courses if that's your interest, or just get started. Mhm. Because you said you joined before and then you heard you needed some new high-end systems and stuff. So my advice is get started.
hello?
Stop keeping stop. Are you hearing?
Didn't get you. My network.
Okay, I said get started. Start learning. Start working. Start building. Because the questions you're asking, you automatically find your answers once you get involved. Like I want you to involve yourself more. I want you to, since it's cybersecurity, right? If you have courses on cybersecurity or wherever, you can start reading them, going through them, tutorials, start learning, start doing it, start sharing your experience. The
All right,
more you're
sir.
getting
Thank
involved,
you very much.
yeah, get started. Yeah, I suppose that's all
All
right. I suppose
Okay.
that's
right.
all for us.
Yeah, all right. Just to add to that, so we also built. I know that sometimes it can be overwhelming when you're trying to start to learn how to code. It can be overwhelming. So we recently launched this tool called 8020. So, for example, he said he wants to learn basics of programming and also he wants to learn cybersecurity. So you can come in here and learn using a prompt just the way you get answers to your question using ChatGPT prompt. So you can simply say, I let's not start with hi. I want to learn the basics of programming and also for cyber security. So now I want to learn the basics of programming specifically for cybersecurity. If I hit enter, what's going to happen is that this is going to help me generate a course that I can use. So all the questions that Thank God has been asking automatically it's answered using just a prompt, right? So and this is like a very interesting tool. We've been using it and we're planning this AI internship where the interns are going to come and you get to experience this tool and use it to do some other things. You know, other interesting things, way bigger than even what I am trying to do right now. So it takes some time because, of course, it's AI is trying to go through the internet and do a lot of stuff to generate these courses for you. So, but then each time it comes back to you and it gives you like a well curated course on how you can be able to solve this. Like this is like a very interesting tool. So all the questions I think God has automatically gets answered. I just thought I should show that in. I don't know if there's any other questions that anybody wants to ask. So yeah, you can see the courses are already coming out. Yeah.
So I have a question for so for our platform, for Tublian, for an example, we don't use Flutter or React Native. We do use React. That's how the whole platform is built, and we made our design responsive, right? So it kind of works for mobile. And now with the, what do you guys call it? PWA or Progressive Web App. You can easily turn web pages into kind of application running on your platform. So from your, you're obviously expert in this. Why would if I have a web-based platform, why would I consider using Flutter or React Native? Why should I use those tools? Does the question make sense?
Yes, yes. And it's a very opinionated question slash controversial one, like Flutter versus React Native. You see, if you come from an objective perspective, like looking at either platforms from a neutral point of view, if you to pick one has its pros, one has its cons. Like there are places where React Native has advantages that Flutter doesn't, and there are places where Flutter has advantages that React Native doesn't. For example, React is from the web, so HTML, CSS, and JavaScript work very well. So by the time you're bridging your React code into native, you still have all the advantages of the web and the mobile you're about installing. But then Flutter was from a mobile standpoint, and it has Flutter Web. So Flutter Web works, but it's not as sleek and fast as React on the web because Flutter Web will have to download Canvas kits and use WebAssembly modules behind the scenes, which is something that works in the browser, but it's not mainly JavaScript like the way our HTML and CSS is oriented. No, rendering is through the canvas and it's really heavier. So Flutter Web, we advise to use Flutter Web when you are uh, building things that will not be content heavy, because Flutter is SEO not friendly. It doesn't work with SEO and all those things. But now, when we talk about another perspective like control, like control, for example, you see, Flutter, for example, because of the entire ecosystem of Flutter kind of controls the application themselves. Like there's a custom, like Flutter rendering on Flutter is unique to Flutter. It doesn't rely on the underlying OS. So, which is different from React Native, that kind of transpiles to what the OS will have. So it can be hard in terms of maybe updates. If there are kind of binding or updates to Android or things like that, like React Native might have to really update things to make it work there. But Flutter will not. But all these things are minor differences. I'm just trying to like give you pros and cons. Flutter once works on desktop applications. You can build a Flutter app to actually work as a install as a Windows window, right? But that's not the case for React Native. I stand to be corrected. So it's more likely a personal decision, right? When maybe developers or clients on their own expose themselves to decisions and the ecosystem, they end up taking their own choice. It's kind of an open competition. But given that you already have everything built on React and well adapted for mobile, yeah, if you're to compare it to React Native, there's a liberal amount of work you still have to put in. It's not like any React code base automatically a React Native code base, no. I think there's just a little few things you have to do to make it work React Native. I think you should go ahead and do it in React Native. No need of rebuilding back into Flutter, right? Except if there were some very extensive things you're doing in React that you want to achieve in mobile that your React code base is not giving you and you're comfortable with building in Flutter, then you can come ahead, right? Or if you have a lot of needs on some native permissions, because it's not every application that should be built with cross-platform tooling, truth be told. Something like SMS, right? You can build it with cross-platform, but it's so every platform has a very specific way of implementing it. So I'll advise, talking from an experience of building SMS in Flutter, I'll advise that anybody that wants to build anything SMS should come to maybe build it natively. So, but to answer your question, there's no direct answer, right? If you started with React and you want to just bridge your React code into React Native, please go ahead. But if it's an entirely new project that is mobile focused and you want to use it to be a cross-platform tool and you're comparing React Native and Flutter, then I'll be like, go ahead and do your own comparison, do your own research, and then settle. But me, I have chosen Flutter and I do Flutter a lot. And you have any questions about Flutter, I'll answer as many as possible. Yes, and maybe I'll even I recommend Flutter for you because I've been using it. I wouldn't say there are not few world rules I've ever come across them, but they are all in minor. So I think that should be it.
All right, thank you. That makes sense.
Yeah, okay. I wanted to say that. Okay, he's also asking. So why should I even build a mobile app for my websites which already have like a mobile view? So why should I still build a website for something like that? So why should I build a mobile app for my website which already have a mobile view and people use it on their mobile device? Why do I still need to build a mobile app for it?
Come back. Like you said, where do you build the mobile app for? I don't
I
get.
said, why should I build a mobile app for my website which already has a mobile view on the web?
Okay.
Yeah,
If the question is why should I build a mobile app for my website, then it depends on what is
that
the
is
nature of the application. The answer is
okay.
what's the nature of the application, right? Some apps are just better on the web. Let's take GitHub for example. We do a lot of things on the web, right? Or let's take which other tool? Most of these Web3D apps, all these Uniswap and all of it. So they're better on the web because we are just accustomed to using them on desktop webs or even on mobile web. Yeah. So people are already used to put them on browsers. So we don't really need to have apps from Play Store. Or sometimes they could be very sophisticated on the web, like Google Cloud Platform or AWS. They could be very sophisticated. So it's difficult to have an app for them, or their app will be restrictive. So we will not build them. But sometimes your product might be a mobile app first. You could be building something like Bolt or Airbnb or something like um, a delivery application. So you start from the mobile app instead. So you would have built the app and you don't need to build a comprehensive website that will do what the app does at the same time, right? So, or social media, which you can see that most of our Facebook and the rest, they have both app and web at the same time. But most of those things started as mobile first, like as a mobile app. So the answer is that it depends on what the app you're building. And if you think most of your users will be more comfortable using the mobile app for that product than the browser. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I think maybe your one is having some
Yeah.
difficulty on its end. Yeah. So, guys, just to end this session, I think we just have like 2 minutes left. So, just to end this session, I would like to encourage you all to sign up on Tublian. If you have your Git, just create a GitHub account. If you don't have, and then you sign up on Tublian and explore the tools. If you see something you don't like or something you don't understand, just pop in the community and share with us, share the feedback with us. As for the community, I'm trying to share the community invite link. Yeah, okay. Yes. So for the community, I'm sharing the invite link in the comment section. So just join the community, share with us if you see anything that you don't like, just share it in the community, and then we are going to look at it and make some adjustments on it. And then also we have this AI internship coming up. So if you go to, can I share my screen? So if you go to Tublian, so if you go to your Tublian landing page, yeah, right. Sorry. So we've been working on this and trying to develop it and all. So if you come to the landing page, this is the AI internship page. So we are trying to teach developers because AI is coming up, and then we even are building on this AI tool called Tublian OS, where developers can be able to have all the tools they need to run as their own agency, right? So this tool is it's coming up very soon. We have videos about it on YouTube. You can check it. Just go on YouTube and type Tublian, you're going to see the video. Then also we have this open source internship. So this internship is simply for us to be able to train you guys and prepare you for the future, prepare you for all those all the give you the AI skills that you need for you to be able to take those AI jobs that are going to come up in the future. Like Facebook, for example, is going way above their salary structure because they want to be able to hire guys that are coming from OpenAI and then even some other AI companies. So the skill is kind of the skill space is kind of slim. So we are trying to add more people into that space so that you guys can have more skills to be able to compete and take up these roles. So that is what we'll be doing in this internship. It's important to note that in this internship, we are going to be able to build 2 projects. One is going to be a challenge, so you have the opportunity to win prizes, and the other one is going to be part of your points for the internship, how you are going to be able to make it to the end of the internship. So that first one is you're going to build your own AI model, right? So it's a very interesting one, and I think you all should try to be part of it. I am going to be part of it too. So yeah, and there are a lot of things that you can learn. This is basically the stuff that you'll be learning. You understand the basics of machine learning and AI, Lang, framework, and everything that you need. And guess what? You'll be learning using 80/20. So AI will be generating the course that you'll be taking. Is that also interesting? So you'll be learning AI using AI. So yeah, thank you everyone for coming out. Thank you, Sri. Yeah, AI all the way down. Yeah. So guys, thank you very much for coming out. We really appreciate you. Thank you, Obum, for this important session on mobile development. So maybe next time we'll bring Obum back so that he will come and tell us how we can use AI in developing mobile or how we can build mobile test AI tools. Like I just realized that ChatGPT has like an app, and that's so interesting. You know, so maybe Obum is going to come back again to show us how we can be able to build AI-based mobile apps, or how we can even use AI to build mobile apps. So thank you very much everyone for coming. I really appreciate. If you want to join the internship, follow us on social media. Take a screenshot of this session, post it on social media. Tell us what you've learned. Tag us at Tublian on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. We we'll be happy to to see what you've learned through this session. Thank you very much, Obama. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming out. We really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.